The Tim Heale Podcasts. Ordinary people's extraordinary stories.
Welcome to the Tim Heale Podcast. In this episode, it's going to be slightly different. I'm doing two people at once. I'm going to do John and Mark. So John and Mark are father and son, and they've got quite a story to tell. So without further ado, John, Mark, if you can tell me when and where you was born, and if you can tell us what it was like where you grew up, the schools you went to, and the education you received. So welcome on board.
Well, thank you, Tim. We're excited to be here.
Thank you, Tim. I really appreciate it.
So
You're most welcome.
So maybe I'll start because I'm the old one, right?
Yeah,
So I was born in the month of June in 1958.
And
We've got a birthday coming up soon then.
There, well, if I should be making it to my 64th birthday, that'll be a good thing.
yeah,
It's always better to have birthdays than the alternative. When you run
Absolutely.
out of birthdays, you're in trouble. I was the firstborn to parents in Queens, part of New York City. So a year after I was born, they moved out to Long Island, to a suburb of New York City. That was exploding at the time because, post World War II, folks all coming out. My dad was a veteran, all coming out and staking a claim in suburbia. I grew up in a family with three other siblings, two brothers and a sister. We lived in town of Huntington. I went to the local public schools through 8th grade. And then for high school, I went off to a Catholic high school, an all-male Catholic high school called St. Anthony's. Things changed when I went out there, I look back and think, what was I doing going to an all-male high school? But
With no girls?
No girls,
Yeah.
Which made me, socially backwards for a long time. But, good things are, I am still close and still some of my dearest friends or people went to high school with. In part, I joke that it's because we can't make new friends, so we're kind of stuck with each other. And I was also fortunate enough to receive a wonderful education, one that really taught me about possibilities, and it was quite encouraging. But I was a high school kid getting exposed to lots of things. So listening to Bob Dylan, actually it's Bob Dylan's 81st birthday today as we record this. Listening to Bob Dylan and reading Jack Kerouac and poetry and getting off and doing wild things. One of the things I did, I don't know if this is common in England, Tim, but in the States, you'll hear about this. I organized Junior Cut Day, a day to get all the juniors in our high school to skip school, or at least a good portion of them. We were all out having fun. And, I did a lot of organizing then, not necessarily for good things. And the school rewarded me by throwing me out of the school. So, but they took me back in, and then I got elected school president because I was the guy that ran Junior Cut Day. I went off to college, to a place called Holy Cross in Massachusetts. Fine school. I got a wonderful education. Met some more of my lifetime friends and met a woman who happens to be my wife. But lots of adventures there. When I was young and around those times, I did a lot of hitchhiking. I hitchhiked cross country 3 times. Um, I spent my junior year, my third year of college in Dublin at Trinity College. And that was a wonderful experience. Really taught me about how to be a student. And I hitched.
And drink beer, no doubt.
Well, yeah, I
Well,
didn't have
one
to
or
go.
two Guinnesses down the road, I guess.
I didn't have to go to Dublin to learn how to drink beer, but but I did a lot of traveling then. Knapsack on the back, hitchhiking around Europe, around England, and lots of hiking around Ireland. That was all quite wonderful. When I left college, I had no idea what I was going to do. I wound up teaching school for 2 years. I went out to Oregon and helped a friend set up a not-for-profit grocery store. I enrolled in a program, graduate school to study literature. I wrote a movie review column for a newspaper in New York. Wound up working for a congressman here. Did a lot of different things. I left in the mid-'80s to go get a master's of public policy at the Kennedy School of Government up at Harvard. That was quite a wonderful experience.
So let's just wind you back a little bit. So when did you get married?
We got married a year out of college. We were living together. I remember my dad and I always had a hard relationship. He told me I was too young to get married, and I agreed. I said, but what am I going to do, Dad? I love the girl. Am I going to, say, well, go away and come back when I'm 30? That'll be a good time to get married. Couldn't quite do that. We've been together ever since. Yeah, I had a rebel streak in me. I left home when I was 19 to go set out for the world. And, I still managed to pay for school and figure that stuff out. I love my parents. It was a good family, but I was an exuberant young man.
So during your college, you went across to Dublin and did that piece across there.
Right.
Is this before or after you got married?
Before I got married, so I graduated from college in 1980, and we got married a year later in 1981. And then through much of my 20s was, in different schools, different jobs, trying to figure things out. In retrospect, I think that's the way you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to, you got to spend time experimenting and trying different things. I taught school. I did work construction. I sold T-shirts on the streets of New York. I drove a cab. I tended bar. I wrote short stories. I did a lot of things on my way to figuring out a way forward.
So tell us a little bit about working for the congressman then. What did that involve?
I showed up at his door and said, I want to work for you. I want to get some experience. And they said, well, come back next year. You can volunteer for the campaign. I said, I don't want to do that. I want to get some experience now. And they said, okay, maybe we could arrange an internship with your school. I said, I'm not in school. Actually, I was in school, but not for that. And I just want to get some experience. So they let me volunteer. And then that turned into a full-time job. And it was mainly working on constituent issues. People would show up and they had a problem. They wanted some help. It was a good experience.
So that inspired you to go off to a political college then?
Well, yeah, other places would call it a Masters of Public Administration, but Harvard's very fancy, so they call it a public policy degree. And that was really a great experience of working with fabulous people, and also gave a lot of confidence to go and be able to do other things. I left there, and for much of, I guess, the next 15, 20 years, I worked in the healthcare field. So I worked in and then wound up running the Medicaid health program in New York City. That's the government program, health insurance program. And then when I left there, I was running healthcare management companies and some consulting firms. But along the way, I wrote a novel and I started a software company. I like doing different things, and I'm very entrepreneurial. And that's when we started having kids. We were married almost 10 years before we had kids. So
obviously weren't trying hard enough to start with then.
No, we were,
Even though we're just careful.
we were careful to a point where my wife was, my wife controls the universe. She didn't want to have kids yet, and then she decided she wanted to have kids 3 years. So she wanted to have three children, 3 years apart in the first part of the year, born in the first part of the year. So our first son was born in January of 1990, second one of March of 93, and the third one in February of 96. The only thing she couldn't control was she didn't get the little girl she wanted, but sometimes we would dress John up as a girl and make her happy.
Oh, I love that. I can be Selena.
There's nothing wrong with a bit of cross-dressing, John. I do it occasionally, put a skirt on. It's fun to go out dressed up as a woman in a party.
I love that.
You love that.
Yeah.
But it's so we did I guess a lot of that. I was always interested in learning new things and trying new ways. Much of that time in the healthcare field was spent trying to figure out how to better deliver healthcare to the poor, how to better organize healthcare. But then I'd get ideas of set up this software company. We made baseball informational software. We had fun doing that. Along the way, I organized some political campaigns. But one thing I never did, I had nothing to do with socks, nothing to do with retail. I wanted to save that for later in my life.
So let's have a chat with John then.
Yeah, I born February 11, 1996. I born at Upstate New York, right in Sleepy Hollow. And now it's called Tarrytown.
So it used to be called North Tarrytown.
But
they changed the name to Sleepy Hollow after the stories of Washington Irving, and it also meant they could raise the price of the houses.
Yeah, and then in 97, and I lived.
How old were you? One.
I'm 1 years old, right here, Hudson, New York. I'm from New York City, and I raised here, and I rest my life, and I go to my school and education.
Well, you went to preschool. Where'd you go to preschool?
I went to ACDS. I went to her preschool, and I went to Flower Hill.
And then you went to the Huntington Public Schools.
Yeah, Huntington Public Schools.
And you would go, Flower Hill was your first one?
I first went to Flower Hill. Second one, I went to Huntington Intermediate.
Huntington Intermediate.
And then I went to Finley
Junior High.
And I went to Hudson High School. And I split my time in Hudson High School and Wilson Tech program It's called Western Bookseas.
Wilson Tech, you went to a local tech school.
And I love the tech
Right.
school.
You spent time there. But I can tell you, Tim, maybe, John's starting off, when John has Down syndrome. We did not know he was going to have Down syndrome when he was born.
Right.
So we found that out on the first day. And you get Down syndrome by having an extra 21st chromosome. So we all have 23 pairs of chromosomes. People with Down syndrome got a little bit of extra. They got an extra 21st chromosome.
Right.
And many people with Down syndrome, it's pretty common, will be born with significant health defects. John here, on his third day of life, needed intestinal bypass surgery. We did not know if he could survive the operation. We brought a Catholic priest into the hospital to baptize him. And before John was 3 months old, he needed open heart surgery because he had 2 holes in his heart and went into full congestive heart failure. We didn't know if he could survive that operation, but he did. And then as he grew, John couldn't talk. So what did you learn?
I learned sign language, and I learned how to I learned to computer.
You had an assistive voice device.
Yeah.
But now John's a public speaker. Now he talks so much, sometimes we can't get him to stop talking.
I never shut up.
I have noticed that actually. So, John,
Yeah.
what was your favourite subject in your junior high school?
I study lab skills.
What was your favorite subject?
My favorite subject is math.
You like math?
I like math and learning from there.
Yeah. You liked going to school, didn't you?
I do.
Yeah.
I may go to school.
Do you have a lot of mates at school?
A lot of friends at school?
Yeah, I do. I have a lot of friends and a lot of classmates, a lot of teachers, and
You still have some of the same friends,
I do.
right? And you liked your teachers a lot.
Yeah.
You're always giving shout outs to your teachers.
Yes, I do. And then also my good friend, she was also my girlfriend.
Oh, and you met your girlfriend there.
Ah,
Oh.
I have girlfriend.
all coming out now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did you know about this, Mark?
We knew about it, and he and Stephanie have been off and on for many years now. It's like watching a soap opera. You know,
A bit like watching the Kardashians, is it?
And if you mention Stephanie's name around John's mom, her head spins. And if Stephanie told John that your head will spin, he said, "Okay, I'll spin my head."
So, John,
Yes.
what got you into odd socks?
White socks.
White socks. It's fun. It's colorful. It's creative. I will always let me be me. I want to create something my whole life, and I turn around. I'm looking for a crazy sock.
He always wore these crazy socks. We drive around looking for them.
Right.
But so you liked them like your whole life, but the business part came out because when John was in his last year of school, like everybody else, he's trying to figure out what I'm going to do.
Yeah,
next.
I was trying to do it then.
And you didn't see anything you liked. But he's a natural entrepreneur, Tim. If he didn't see a job he wanted, what'd you say?
I want to create one. I want to make one.
I said, okay, I'll make a job.
I did.
And what'd you tell me?
I tell my dad that I want to go business with him. I want to have a nice father and son been together.
Mm-hmm.
which were pretty cool. Now, I don't know about you, Tim. I don't know how many kids you might have. I have 3 sons, and this is one I could work with. So, and it was John who suggested that we sell socks.
Right.
Mm. So, what's the business called then? Is it called Cronin and Father, or is it
Oh, it
Cronin
would be
and
nice.
Son?
It would be nice. I suggested something like that. Cronin
Yeah.
and Sons.
Yeah,
Or
Cronin.
Mark Serious Socks. But what's the business called?
It's called John Crazy Socks.
John's Crazy Socks.
John's
Because
Crazy
of course
Socks.
he named it after himself.
Yeah, well, I think that.
Yeah.
And John Crazy Socks, he called John Crazy. I'm crazy.
Yeah. Because you're crazy for socks, huh?
Yeah.
So, as I understand, you don't make a pair of socks. You can't buy a proper pair of socks off of you guys.
Well, you can. Actually, when we started, it was just John and me,
Yes.
and we had 37 different sock styles. How many different socks do we have today?
And today we have 4,000 different kinds of socks and in choices.
4,000 different sock choices. Something
Yes.
for everybody. And you know what that means, Tim? John here owns the world's largest sock store.
Yes, absolutely.
Very cool.
Mm, wicked. So, these socks then, they're crazy socks. So, do they come in pairs?
They come in pairs.
And,
We
and
have
are,
all sorts of
they, are they the same sock, same pair?
No, it's 4,000 different ones. But you can also get the sock of the month.
Yep.
You get a surprise pair of socks each month in the mail delivered to you. We have thousands of people like that. You know, that's fun.
Yep. And we have Monday mystery bag.
We have the Monday mystery bag, a surprise bag of socks.
Yeah,
for you.
surprise. And
So if you like surprises, we got things for you.
right, and we have an ankle socks. We have a knee-high sock, cruise socks, no-show socks, and we have shorty socks
Over the knee,
over knees,
compression socks.
compression.
We got everything.
Everybody.
Wow.
I love socks.
So, why do you love socks?
I love socks. It's fun, it's colorful, and crazy socks. I love them. And of course, sock, and more socks.
And you're always saying they always let me be me.
That's right.
Because
Yeah.
they get to express your personality and your feeling.
Yeah, I'm so inspired.
You know,
Mm.
most of the time we're all wearing some form of uniform. It might be a suit and tie, it might be khakis and a polo shirt, but you can wear socks that can express your personality or your feeling. We watched a video today, a TikTok video of a customer who made a video of
Yeah.
opening her package, and she had ordered these giraffe socks. She said, I got giraffe socks because I identify as a giraffe. So she can express who she is with her socks.
Brilliant. So, John, can you take me through the process that you go through when you're designing a new sock?
So when you design a sock, what do you start with?
I start with down syndrome.
Well, that was the first one you designed with the Down syndrome wearing the socks. But today, if I said, John, I need you to design a sock, what would you do?
All right. I have to draw it. I use a Microsoft Surface. I drawing.
John, you would draw. You
I
would get the
draw
idea
it.
out of your head.
Yeah, come in my head. I smoke out my ears.
We know that John is thinking hard when the smoke is coming out.
Yes.
But then the process is, John, if it's one he's going to design, he will start with a drawing. And then we give that to one of our designers who finishes it and puts it in a format to turn into a sock.
Yeah.
It's very technical.
Yeah.
We then will contract with a sock factory to produce the sock.
Yeah.
That's how we get the socks.
Absolutely.
So you said your first sock was a Down syndrome.
Yeah.
Well, the first one that we designed and made.
Yeah.
Because so when we started, we were selling other people's socks. And then in January of 2017, we're just getting started. We're trying to come up with ideas. And that's when we found out that people celebrate World Down Syndrome Day, which is March 21st, by wearing crazy socks.
Yes.
So we went out looking for a Down syndrome themed sock. Nobody made one.
Right.
And then what you said?
I said, I want to make one. I want to create one. I want to design.
So he sat down and he designed the sock. He said, Dad, we should make this.
And
we got somebody to make it for us.
It's a Down awareness sock. I'm going to show you on this podcast. And
yeah, but if it's only a podcast, how are people going to see
it? I know. Those are Down awareness socks. That says 3 Hard 21. Since my design, I throw it.
And those raise money for the National Down Syndrome Society.
Yes.
So they celebrate people with Down syndrome, they raise awareness, and they raise money for the National Down Syndrome Society.
So what's the significance of the 3 Heart and 21 then?
Well, it's a double significance. One is that's how you get Down syndrome, from having 3 21st chromosomes.
Yeah, at the day it's on March, 321 is on March 21st. That day is the World Down Syndrome Day.
So,
and you get a 321, you get extra chromosome.
You know how they write dates in England?
Yeah.
In England, you would write 21, 3, 22.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
So we'll have to make them all. We'll have to flip it for the socks we sent to England. Can you do that?
Maybe.
21 Heart free.
There you go.
Nice.
There you go. and then they'll sell in England.
I love England.
You love England. Are you an Anglophile?
Yeah.
Have you been here?
I never do. I never visited England. I will go to Paris.
We haven't been to England. Well, I've been to England. You haven't been to England yet.
For sure.
But that's when you go to France. You're going to say bonjour.
Okay.
Oh, bonjour. Now you've got to say it right, else they won't understand what you're on about, and they'll come back to you and speak English. So you say, bonjour, monsieur, ça va? And he should come back and say, I'm very well, but please don't speak French.
We do a lot of speaking engagements, so we've been able to travel across Canada, the U.S., and Mexico. During the pandemic, everything moved online.
Yeah.
So we have spoken many times in England, and in
but
France,
only online.
But it's all online, and we just finished something with the Paris City University. There was a class there studying our business, and there were students making presentations, and I was like, we'd love to come to Paris. All you have to do is fly us there. They said they'll get back to us.
I'm able to go to London.
We're good to go to London.
Yeah.
London.
You'll enjoy London.
Yeah, I never heard a woman divine werewolf of London.
An old song by a guy named Warren Zevon called Werewolves of London.
No.
Werewolf of London.
Yeah. Yeah, an American Werewolf in London. We had one of those once, apparently.
Movie, right?
Yes.
So, your sock business now. Do you make your socks in-house, or do you still?
No, we still contract for them. We now have a strategic partner, a a third generation family business that has been manufacturing socks for 60 years. But they all do it through a network of factories, literally around the world. So we still buy from other suppliers as well as the ones that we make ourselves. And we're getting to make more and more of ours. So we've grown a lot, right? We've now shipped over 380,000 packages to 88 different countries.
Wow.
We've been able to create 34 jobs. 22 of those are held by people with differing abilities, with autism or Down syndrome or some other issue. We've been able to raise over $500,000 for our charity partners. And as John would tell you, we're just getting started.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you're still young. You're still a couple of young fellas, aren't you?
Talking to me, I'm still young.
Yeah, you're young. Are you old?
I'm old, huh?
Oh, he's just a boy. See, I know it doesn't look like it, but I have this incurable condition. I've got no intentions of how to cure it, but it's called the Peter Pan syndrome. You may have heard of it.
Yes, be young forever.
Absolutely. Got no intention of growing up.
I have good friends of mine who are now retiring, and some of them are counting the days. I'm like, well, that's good for you, but I'm just getting started. There's so much we want to do, right?
Yeah.
And we got
Well, you don't want to hand it all over to your partner just yet, do you?
No. He works. You keep me in line, right?
Yeah, I keep my dad in line.
Yeah. So you're the boss then?
Yes, I am. I am the boss.
We all live in fear.
I know.
Is he a good leader, Mark?
John is a wonderful leader. He's inspiring.
Yes.
So what's our mission?
Our mission is spreading happiness.
Spreading happiness.
Spreading that. Oh, I love that.
John exemplifies that. And frequently, when we're trying to figure something out, it's what would John do? And that's able to guide us into, how we lead the business.
Right.
Everything from how we work with our customers, and always looking to make personal connections, always looking to wow people.
Absolutely.
To the products we sell, everything has to be approved by John.
Right. Exactly what Dad said. I Johnning about my dad. My dad could always give me trainings. He knew. He believed in me. He knew I learned all the time. I learn from him because I do. I'm learning all the time. And my dad is so inspiring me. I did it with my dad. I never without him.
That's great. So your staff. So you're employing quite a few people there. So what jobs do they do?
Well, let's split things into two categories. We do our own fulfillment, so orders come in, and from our website, we got to pick them, pack them, and send them out. So we run our own pick and pack warehouse. So we have our Lord of the Socks, who runs our warehouse and our fulfillment operation. We have pickers. And what do we call our pickers?
Sock wranglers.
Sock wranglers.
Sock wranglers. Oh, I love that.
And we have our happiness packers. So those are all the folks that work in our warehouse and make sure our customers get their packages quickly. Then we have a range of folks that will work in the office on web manager and a web page designer and a social media person and a product development person. our happiness creators who work with our customers. John's mom, my wife, works here. What's her title?
She is a mama bear.
A mama bear.
Ah.
Our customers. We're only able to do what we do because we have a really wonderful team. We get to work with really great people who care about what they're doing. They believe in the mission we have, and they make everything possible.
Right, and our possibilities, and so that we can do.
We want to show what's possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sounds like you've got the right format there to make it all work.
So far, it's been good. It's a slightly different type of business model. We're a social enterprise, so we have both a social and a business drive, and they feed off of each other. They're indivisible. If all we were doing was selling socks, what do? Our socks are better than yours. Ours are cheaper than yours. But because we have this mission to spread happiness, because
we're keeping him up.
We're showing what people with different abilities can do, and we're giving back, and we're wowing our customers. The socks become the physical manifestation for our story and our mission, and that's what makes us different.
Yep.
Seems to be working then.
It is. We get to have fun, don't we?
Absolutely, Dad.
So you got a 4,000 sock line. So somebody wants a pair of socks. They've got a choice of 4,000 socks.
Yeah, that's
how would they go about choosing a pair of socks that's right for them?
We try to make it easy by organizing things in collections, making it easy to find stuff so that you don't get lost. People can find things quickly of what they want, but we have other people who tell us, "Oh, I just love going to the site. I'll spend an hour just looking at different items." And you want to make it fun and enjoyable. After all, we're on a mission to spread happiness. But that's an interesting challenge. You want to give people maximum choice without overwhelming them.
Yeah. So the socks are in all sort of different categories then?
Yeah, by, men, women, children, different silhouettes, different styles, low cut, no show, crew socks, knee-high socks, over-the-knee socks, all sorts of different styles, in addition to different colors and themes.
So, John, what's your process of what do you go through to come up with the idea for a new design of a sock?
A new idea?
Well, you usually start with some, inspiration, some idea. We'll tell you we wanted those fireworks socks, or you wanted the firefighter tribute socks. You start there. Then how do you take that idea and turn it into a design?
I come an idea I inspired our firefighters.
You've never been able to explain your process.
I'm sorry.
It just happens. I guess what genius is, it's just so natural for you. You can't tell the rest of us what happens. It just comes out.
Is it like magic?
Comes out right down your arm for you to be drawing.
So I get what you're going on about here. You're just keeping it a trade secret. You don't want a competition to know how you do it. Oh.
Well,
that's what it's all about.
We get asked a lot, we'd like to start a business like you. What could we do to get started? And I suggest the first thing I would do is kidnap John.
Really? I didn't of you.
It's a compliment that you're the one that makes it go.
So where do we find John to kidnap him?
Well, we got to keep him under wraps, but I got to keep you in bubble wrap.
Yeah, I can remember.
You're the golden goose.
Yeah, I love that.
But where can people find us?
You can find us at johnscrazysocks.com.
Plus,
That's it.
we're on every social media platform, but mainly on Facebook, Instagram, and now TikTok.
TikTok.
You love doing those dances on TikTok.
I do.
You're like
So that's what he does.
Yes, I am. I'm a superstar.
You're a superstar. Let's not let it go.
Absolutely.
Okay, Dad.
Plus, John, here are some things we do. We spread happiness. That's our mission. So during the pandemic, how can you do that? Well, what do you do every Tuesday afternoon?
Every Tuesday, I host a dance party every Tuesday, 3 p.m. 3 p.m. Eastern time.
John hosts an online dance party. We'll get up to 100 people dancing on Zoom with John. It's great fun.
Wicked.
And we started during the pandemic. We started doing a Facebook Live show. And what's that called?
The Spreading Happiness Show.
The Spreading Happiness Show. And that has now spawned our own podcast. It's not as good as yours, Tim. You do a great job. We do a half hour, just the two of us talking, sharing what's up to date, what's up with John. We're just trying to make people smile.
Yeah.
We're trying to make folks feel good. So we share some good news stories.
And I tell jokes.
We tell some jokes.
And I tell I'm much
John gives an update on his love life.
Yeah, my love life.
People want to know.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You're very smooth.
And you smooth too.
Oh yes, I'm very
smooth talking guy, eh? Got away with all the ladies, is it?
Well, Tim, some guys they learn how to play the guitar to meet women. John started a sock business.
And so you.
I got all the woman I can handle.
You like Mom?
Oh, Mom, right. I'm looking to handle her. What would I do with another woman?
Excellent. So, John, where do you see yourself going with the business in, say, 3 years' time? What's your forecast for the next 3 years?
Well, we're trying to reach more people, spread more happiness, create more jobs, show more what people with different abilities can do.
Yeah.
So we're growing our direct-to-consumer business.
Yep.
We're now growing our B2B business of selling to other businesses, custom socks, gift packages.
Yep.
We're entering the wholesale channel, so you'll be able to buy our socks in stores.
Right.
By the end of 2022, we'll do that. And we have our JCS Champions program. We're going to put people with differing abilities into their own business by giving them a business in a box. And over 5 years, we're going to create 1,000 businesses. We're really excited about that.
Wow. Now that's ambition. I like that bit of ambition.
Well, listen, the two of us are just a couple of knuckleheads selling socks, right? And yet, all we want to do is
change the world.
Change the world.
Change the world.
Why not?
Well, it looks like you're doing it one sock at a time.
That's about it.
Selling socks with happiness. I like that.
That's it. Think about it. You buy socks from us. You're going to get great socks. You get anything you want, you're going to get great socks. We have over 29,000 5-star reviews. you're going to get great service. But beyond that, you help us employ people with different abilities. You help us give back. And you help spread happiness. What's better than that?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He's spot on. Well, this has been fascinating. I know where I'm going for some socks.
Oh, that's great.
I shall put an order in today.
And we got to get over to merry old London. We could pop in and say hello to Tim.
Absolutely.
I bet we could have a fine time in the local pub.
Oh, you should have said I would have invited you into the pub. Hang on, let me get the pub up. Let me find the pub. Where's my pub gone? Oh, there's my pub. There you go. I'm in the pub. There you go. We're in the pub.
Line up there, get yourself a pint of Smittix. Maybe a pint of Guinness. Guinness is good for you. Put hair on your chest.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah. So come over to England and drink some warm beer.
There we go.
Have a beer there?
Yeah, you can have a beer there, sure. That's all we need is you start drinking.
Yeah. So, John, I think you are doing a terrific job just keeping your dad in check. Showing her the way to go.
We tell the story, Tim, of a few years back, we were participating in a business accelerator program, and there were some classroom sessions in it. And whenever there was a class taking place, John would get there early, set up seats, set everything up, and he'd start texting me, "Dad, you're going to be late. Dad, you're going to be late. Dad, you're late." And when I would amble in, I'd sit next to him, and then I would lean over and say something or write something down. He goes, "Shh, pay attention." And that's when we realized that if we were both in high school together, we were not going to be friends. You know, over here in the States, they call the person who runs the school the principal. And at every school John went to, he was friends with the principal. And he would love to go see the principal. When I was there, they had a chair outside the principal's office, and I would be getting sent down to the principal, and he'd be coming out saying, "Are you here again, Mr. Cronin?"
That sounds right. Oh, terrific.
That's why we make a good pair.
Oh,
yeah.
Why does that?
Because I'm just telling some fun stories,
Oh,
right?
jeez.
I survived all that, and they survived me.
Yeah, I survived.
Yeah.
And look where you are today.
Look where we are. Knuckleheads selling socks.
Yeah, and look at Long Island.
Couple of knuckleheads from Long Island, huh?
Yeah.
Terrific. Well, guys, I've really enjoyed this. And I know where I'm going to go and get my socks from.
That's wonderful, Tim. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Tim.
You're welcome.
The Tim Heale Podcasts. Ordinary people's extraordinary stories.